Me being from my hood, I don't regret it, but I wouldn't recommend it.
At 43, gangbanging is the most stupidest thing ever. At 10, 15, 20, that was my life. I was trying to be the best gangster there ever was out there. Good.
I'll wait my turn. Man, I'll lead us off because I got a lot of questions that I'm curious about, just from a standard perspective. Man, if you guys could just give some like quick intros of your background, a little bit of your journey, and then we'll flow into that.
Well, for those that don't know, I'm Wicked. I'm from Westside Pyro. It's my neighborhood, Carson. Me personally, I was born and raised in Long Beach. Same situation, same struggle as everybody else. Just here to speak about it.
Well, since Wicked just threw out his neighborhood, I got to throw out my neighborhood too. You know what I'm saying? I'm from Long Beach, man. They call me Pimp. Okay. So me, when I grew up, it was easy for me because I was the youngest. I was the youngest of my four brothers who I was raised or grew up with, but a bunch of first cousins. But they're from Compton. So seeing them gangbang and doing that, it was easy for me to follow that. So I didn't know nothing else, and that's I don't want to say career, but that's how I got into that lifestyle.
Sometimes the love at home, it's all cool and that, but when they leave out the house, it's a different environment for a lot of young people, because they have to go out into the world and try to find out where they fit in.
Me personally, my brother, my older brother, we're 10 years apart. He went to jail for 20 years in federal prison, and I wanted to be like him. I wanted to follow that path because I saw the love that he got from everyone, the money that he was making selling dope, and it was just something that I was like, oh man, I want to be just like him. And I remember, I want to say this, when I was in elementary, I remember when they had this program going on called DARE, and they said, they told kids, what do you want to be? I actually told them I want to be a gay man. And they looked at me like stupid, but they didn't understand what I saw was my brother giving money to my parents, people from neighborhood shaking his hand, giving them love, him coming with new car. I was like, that's stupid. And I was like, so they didn't understand where I was. When I said I want to be like my brother, I saw the good things of gangbang and selling dope. Man. So that's why I was attached to it.
Do you remember what age you were?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when that moment, I was like, yeah, this is what I wanted to do.
I don't know what was 5th grade. 10. It was for 10, 8 years old. Wow. So we was in 3rd grade and my cousin 5th grade. We were holding blue rags, throwing up seeds, and we was like, these idiots. Like, what are you talking about? All our cousins and brothers are doing it, so we want to be cool just like them.
And what I'm just picking up from what you're putting down is what you were enamored by. Maybe this might be something you could relate to as well, but I'm curious to hear your side is the love, the resources, and the support that you saw those who came from you. So, and it came with you willing to take that risk. Because I wasn't thinking about like what the lifestyle included, but you see the love, you see the resources being passed to the OGs and the parents, and that was what, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of captured your attention to like, oh, I want to model that.
Yes.
Damn. Okay. What about you, Wick? Like, the backstory. What?
I think mine's very similar. I think the only difference was, in our generation, it was kind of more dumb because there was no money aspect to it, right? So you see how you say you saw Big Bro and he was making this money and getting the respect. For our generation, I think it was more like the respect, and that was it. So it's kind of more stupid if you think about it, because there was no money, there was no incentive to do it, other than we all made a choice, me and my circle, to say we want to be the biggest, baddest, hardest, can I cuss? Motherfuckers in this whole thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for us, it was like, we was raised together, we got to a certain point where, all right, where we gonna go, what neighborhood we gonna be with, and then we got influenced by, I don't want to say no names, but another big bro that was already from West Side, and then that's where it just started from there. So I was already enamored with the life around 10, and then I got from the hood when 13 turning 14. So at that point, that's when I made that decision, like,
Full on commit, like
I'm committed to
all
it.
in.
You know what I mean? Hindsight, looking at it, I'm like, it probably wasn't the smartest decision, right? But at that point, my perspective at that time of my life was, I can't wait. I can't wait to, they know who I am. I can't wait till they know who I am.
Yeah.
Oh, they gonna disrespect me. Okay, they gonna learn. You know what I mean? That was my perspective at that point. So, and I think that was the perspective a lot of my close homies that I still have to this day.
Yeah.
Was that perspective of, we gonna make sure they know who we are. And that was it at that time of my life.
So 10 years old, and just for the people, how old, what's your current age? Because y'all both started at 10 years old. What's your current age?
43.
31.
31, okay. Just want to, have
10
that
years.
contrast of
10
experiences.
years.
Yeah, okay. And then just if I can reflect back to what I'm hearing, the captivating piece was respect.
And that's it.
It was, yeah. And then like the community aspect, right? Like finding an environment that you felt people were aligned with and that same value. Mm-hmm. Like, man, everybody that's rocking with me, you ain't on that, then
That's it.
we good.
You know how all these drive-bys are happening. Little kids are getting shot, mothers and fathers are getting shot. Okay, what if something you did to somebody, they come back to your house, shoot your house up, and they hit your parents?
Then I'm walking to that house, wherever they shot from. I'm kicking down the door, and I'm bust on any fool I see.
I want to just kind of take the story a little bit further in your guys' own journeys. Let's talk about some of the tragedies, or just the things that you felt like as a result of what you have experienced and endured. What were a couple of those things that really like struck you at your core, and it stings, every time I think about it? Are there a couple of incidences over your life in that lifestyle that stands out to you? And again, it's just a question I'm throwing out there. God may take it, or one of you guys may. So.
I was definitely, it's one of them was my homeboy when he passed away, when he got killed.
When was that?
I want to say 2004, if I'm not mistaken, 2003. And I gotta get the dates right, but it did spark a different animal in me. It, like what he said, I'm gonna let them know who we is. Like they took my brother out, now I gotta go take 5, 10 more out there. And it was like, it became my life. It became my life. The energy that you put into that is, it's crazy. To be honest with you, like honestly, it gets me emotional. Think about the stuff that we did back then, and it just take us to a dark place. And it's crazy because I didn't care if I hurt who I hurt, as long as I hurt the people that hurt my brother, that took my brother away from me. And that took a toll. At the time I was married too, with kids, so I felt bad for my wife and my kids. And I remember one incident where me and my wife got married, we got a place, and we just got married. And my homeboy told me his house got shot up. I remember grabbing my gun under the bed, strapping it. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And my wife was like, "Where you going?" I said, my homeboy got shot up. She was like, "Well, you just can't go, we're married." I said, "What? You know who I was when you got with me?" And that was just like, I didn't understand the marriage part, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a gangster first before, you know what I mean, the marriage thing. So there was no thing I had to, follow by, right? I followed what I saw with my brothers and them and my cousins and them. So, and man, to this day, I tell my wife sorry for the things that, I put her through. But yeah, that was something I had to live. That was instilled in me.
Yeah, it just made me think about probably my favorite Nipsey Hussle song, but it's Perfect 10, and right in the chorus he talks about like where your hoes at, or where your rose at, Where your backbone, where your code at, where your downstairs one, where Rose at, where them stories that you're telling unfold at, where your heartbeat, where your soul at. We got old school ways we expose that. Ain't no guarantees, but you know that. People die every day, can't control that. Ken Griffey throwback, had to go left, must have popped 28 times because it's 4 left. Like, let me just give you the interpretation that connects to what you're saying of that first line. Must have popped 28 times because it's 4 left, right? 32 bullets in the chamber, probably a semi-automatic. He didn't know that he shot 28 times. He only found out when he saw that there were only 4 left.
Yeah.
Which implies that when I'm spraying, I am not thinking logically. I am not thinking from a sound mind.
Yeah.
I am thinking out of mind. And I'm describing that because it connects to you, and I know it connects to experiences that you've been involved in, but like, you're in an adaptive state of survival. Ain't nobody thinking about future focus. I ain't thinking about family. I ain't thinking about college or graduating high school. I'm trying to get through this moment, these next few minutes. And he's like, oh man, there's 4 left. Here's the thing about that too. You peel back another layer. What he's also implying, this is a deep significance of my interpretation of that line, is that was also the only way that he knew how to express the pain and the hurt that I'm dealing inside. That was the only way I knew how to externalize in my internal.
Yep.
Then the third piece, man, let's peel this all the way back. My interpretation of that lyric. 4 must have popped 28 times because it's 4 left. There's 4 remaining bullets. And any of those 4 bullets could have gone in any other direction. Any of those 4 bullets could have been aimed at anyone, even myself.
But in my heart, I'll be hurt. That's what counts. When you hurt, you gone. When you hurt, you lose it. I think to tell you the truth, I think I'll do the same thing. Go out and get my revenge. I'll kill the dude that killed my daughter, and I'll kill his whole family too. And I'll show him what hurt means. Hurt means. Hurt means.
There are times in all of our lives where we get to the point where we just want to give up. We just want to, for some in a literal sense, but for everybody, the figurative sense of like just wanting to end it all, want to end the pain, want to end the struggle. But all I know how to do is express my hurt and pain through retaliation. Oh, you got my boy? Oh yeah, it's up. And there's so much to extract from that. And I'm curious if you guys are open to kind of unraveling some of that, like peeling back some of the layers of maybe some of the hurt or the pain that has led to some of those decisions that we may not be as proud of, or things that we regret or feel resentful for, in this regard to this perspective of like, man, it's all or nothing.
I mean, there's definitely some regret or pain you might feel towards victims or families that you might have affected due to the actions you've committed with when it comes to living this type of lifestyle. I mean, it's just, especially at the point where you're at, or where I'm at in my life now, I can look back and I can always be like, feeling bad for these families that had to go through, Me personally, God is good, I haven't had to deal with any of my brothers being lost to the streets. Being shot in front of me, had to take them and carry them to the emergency room, that type of stuff. Losing my brothers to the system because of the actions that were committed, those were the situations that resonate with me when it comes to where I feel bad the most, especially my brothers that got locked up behind bars because we were all doing the same things. We was all doing the same activities and stuff like that, but now they gotta pay the consequences for that, right? They gotta sit there and do that 20 bit. And when I talk to these brothers of mine, and just that energy they have, and that there's no like guilt or trying to pass guilt onto any of us. It's just like, you know, we chose this. We chose this lifestyle. We all made a conscious decision, even though we might not have known it at that time when we were young, and when we did it, we made that choice. That's why you might hear people say, like, if he ain't trying to get in the car when it's time to go, you can't make him get in the car when it's time to go, because he might be the one that's going, you know, if it shit hit the fan, then he's gonna be that guy that you're gonna regret even letting in the car. It's the same thing, it's a choice. And as you grow older, you start to understand that. And me personally, the only loss that I feel like is getting that time back from my brothers. I have close brothers that's locked up. Like, we was Free Lonely, Free Slim. These are my brothers that I was raised with in this, when it came to the street stuff. And then now I just gotta sit back, and by the time they get out, I'm on kid number 4. You know what I mean? I got to live my life, stuff like that. So that's the kind of pain that, me personally, that's what I deal with. I know there's other pains that other street dudes go through, but that's really like the shit that, when you say pain, that's what I think about. It's my brothers that didn't have that opportunity to be able to be out here and live their life and make those choices that they could have made if they had that opportunity to do so.
And even, right, like the different lived experiences while having a similar lifestyle in gang culture, it's different, but the pain is the same, right? And so that's really the glue to this all. That's the glue to this conversation. Hearing your pain. And at the end of the day, no matter how we package it, it's pain. And it just gets expressed differently. And that's where, because we're humans and because we're hella complicated, the way that you express pain and is different than mine versus yours. And I mean, that is such a key piece to humanizing your experience. It's saying like, damn, I done been through this. Yes, cool, man, it's been tough, but I'm reflective and I'm getting to a place now. But like, even in the midst of separation and loss in our lives and our families, again, at the end of the day, it's a loss.
A lot of us come from, you know, broken homes, broken relationships, broken neighborhoods, and there's a lot of harm in that. A lot of times we carry this harm and we don't even realize we're carrying this.
So, former gang member, correct?
Well, actually, I like to always tell people, I'm still from my gang. I just don't do the negative activities that they still do. Because I'm going to tell you this, I was talking to my brother over there about it. When you're in the streets with these brothers, there's a lot of sacrifice that you do together. And so, like, you know, I alluded to this. It's like, if me and you brothers and I win $1 million, I'm not just going to leave you. I'm a millionaire now. I'm still your brother, right? Yeah. These are still my brothers. I just don't do that negativity. So if they want to do what we used to do back then, I won't tell them to go do it. Yeah. I actually pray on it because I've changed my life. But I'm still from that neighborhood. And if I was to die from it, I'm okay with that. I'm okay because at the end of the day, I have a purpose here on earth through my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And I want to take you deep into, for me, when he was talking about that, I wanted to elaborate on what he went through. Me personally, I didn't care who I hurt. And I always tell people this, you know, when people say, I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. I'll be like, why? If he's my enemy, I don't care about that fool. I don't care about his mom or sister. That's just my mentality. And maybe because of my you know, I see my brothers and my cousins, that's how they were. I felt they were ruthless, so I had to be ruthless. And I didn't care if I hurt you. If you wasn't with me, I'm gonna hurt you. Yeah. And what changed me was June 11, 2020, my 11-year-old son passed away. And he was playing around with my gun and he shot himself. And God reminded me that I ain't God, he's God. And that humbled me. And that's where I changed my life and found God in the midst of my life to understand what my purpose is here and what I'm doing right now. You know, I'm doing I could care less about any material things. If you know me, I travel around the world. I did some things in the music industry, also, you know, in business. I could care less about that. Like, God had let me know who I am under Him. He humbled me. When my son passed away, that took a lot. That took me. And I tell this to people, I said, when you go through that loss, you don't go back and say, okay, I buried my son and go back to my normal life. You either hit rock bottom or you do what I'm doing right now. And I'm in the service of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And where I can go, I like to share that because I am weak. I am broken. And the only reason why I'm sitting here talking to you is because of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And that I'm not trying to boast about me because I'm a crybaby. I'm a hurtful person. And what I did out there to hurt other people, now He humbled me to, He taught me empathy. Yeah, for the people I hurt, or I love everyone now. And I hope that I could be forgiven for anything I've done to anyone out there, you know, because I understand that pain. Because I didn't care at first. That was like a job to me. You know, you mess with my family, I promise you I'm gonna hurt your family. And that's what, to get out of that mindset is hard. It was so hard that God took my son to make me humble myself and understand that part. So, and it sounds like I'm saying this right, but I had to go through a lot of pain to get to this part right here where I'm talking to you. You know what I mean? Me and my wife wasn't good. We was talking about divorcing, you know, and there's a whole lot of pain that goes through that. And me and my wife turned to God for healing.
For your status and the affiliation that you have now, what is it like for you to be in the phase of life you're now and wanting to empower, but also being still affiliated with gang culture? Like how do you navigate that?
I mean, it's just looking for your purpose. My purpose, I feel like, is just to be kind of like an educator to like the new generations. I got a lot of young homies now, so I'm looking at myself like I'm an old head now. I mean, and my whole thing is with the younger generation that might be stepping into this is like just letting them know like what you're signing up for. It's not, you know, just everything's all sweet and you get to hang out and stuff like that. It's like you really signing up for a lifestyle. Like when it's time to go, it's time to go. So for me, it's like coming from where I came from, being young and dumb, to starting my own family, about to have baby number 4. So I'm like full like daddy mode, right? But at the same time, it's like, I love my neighborhood. I was talking to you earlier and I told you, me being from my hood, I don't regret it, but I wouldn't recommend it. So for me, that's like, it sounds so hypocritical because it's like,
break it down for us. Like what you mean by that?
He don't regret it, so that just sounds like it's a good thing, right? Like he would do it again if he had to, but then he wouldn't recommend it. So how does that even make sense? Through the grace of God, I was able to make it out of the life and still be able to have these blessings in my life as far as my children, my wife, my own family, right? But that was through the grace of God. It could have went either way. That's where it comes in, the factor where I'm saying I wouldn't recommend it. Because I don't know what God's plan is for you. And I wouldn't say do it like how I did it, because I was, you know, I was full throttle with my day ones, and it just happened where it panned out. I got blessed. God said, you know what? I need you to have these 4 kids. And I can't recommend it to you because I don't know if that's how your life going, if it's going to swing that way, the same way that it did for me. So that's why I say I don't regret it, because I love everything that I was able to gain. Another extended family, especially my brothers. When I say my brothers, it's really like, I look at them like how I look at my blood brother who's from my neighborhood as well, but all these other dudes that I would never have that relationship with. And I feel like that's God too. You know, like God blessed me to have these relationships with these individuals that I can still share with to this day, where I'm able to look back and know and understand that maybe it wasn't the best choices to make, but here you go. Like, I'm so fortunate.
That's the brotherhood I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
When you say ex, that's like me saying ex brothers. You know what I mean? Like, those are my brothers still.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm still from Long Beach family. I just don't condone none of the negative things that we did. So like, cause that part there, that bond that I had with them dudes, we got beat up together. You know what I mean? We went to jail together. You know, and we had late nights together. You know what I mean? Talking about each other's marriages. You know what I mean? Raising our kids together. You know, and that's a family right there. And now, like you said, oh man, you know what? Hey, that's stupid. You know, I say this all the time. At 43, gangbanging is the most stupidest thing ever. At 10, 15, 20, that was my life. I was trying to be the best gangster there ever was out there. And man, I wish my brothers and them were owning some hotels. I would have been the best owner, owning hotels, right? But they were gangsters at the time. So I wanted to become the best gangster there was. And that was my motto. And now, being at this age where I'm at, that's the change I'm trying to do for my children.
There's what I'm picking up on this too is like, and it was alluding to your point earlier about having a choice in your decisions, whether we feel like we had a choice or not. And the reflect that I'm hearing from both of you guys and why you guys are here to share your hearts, to humanize your experience, is you're providing the people who come from similar environments with a choice, right? With a widened capacity to choose a different path based on your lived experiences. And I think that right there and is empowering in and of itself. The second piece that I'm connecting from what you said about, like, nah, it ain't no ex-brothers. It's like, nah, you the same way you view your blood brothers is the same way you view, the family that you grew up in with the neighborhood you come from. And you made a comment about, it's like, we share about our relationships to each other. Like, we share about our marriages together. And then it got me thinking about the family environment, the community environment, but also the people you feel like you don't have to safeguard your heart from, right? That they became the people you can lean in, the people that you knew off top, whatever you share with them, that they were gonna keep that information, they were gonna keep that emotional content like protected. And like that element, to me, when I hear it's like, that makes total sense, because we're all made to be in community, whatever it looks like, right? People look at gang culture in a certain way, but no, there's an innate ability, desire for all of us to want to be in community, want to be in brotherhood or sisterhood. And due to the lack of choices from the environments we came from, and there was only one way, but it identified elements that tapped into that deep desire of our hearts, which were one, brotherhood, love, support, vulnerability, right? It's just packaged differently, but it's the same things that we all seek for in life in relationships.
I mean, how you think about it, what other choices do we have? What choices did you have in your generation?
Well, I mean, I think I said earlier, right? I really thought, like, I saw church, sports, and gangbanging. I forgot to mention gangbanging. That's all I saw growing up. I didn't know I could do anything else.
Yeah, the only choices we had was play sports or gangbang. And I fucking sucked at football. So what else I'm gonna do? You know what I mean?
And
but now I look at it like, now you're talking about it like this generation right now. It's like, what? You could be anything. Like, I didn't even know you could be what he does. You working in the NFL team, you would have said, oh, what position you play? He don't even play a position. So then you look at what these dudes doing. Out in Mogul, they doing what they doing, and it's like there's so many avenues now. But when we were growing up, it was kind of like, all right, let's cut them a little slack, because there was really nothing. Like, I could have went to school, but I don't see nobody else that went to school and did it. So how am I gonna know that's even an avenue?
That's the key right there, looking at someone, right?
Yeah, because you guys see it.
Yeah, no, I did not.
We didn't see shit.
I heard of it. It was like a myth, right? Like, oh, he could be like Michael Johnson. Like, how? He ain't Samoan. You know what I mean? It was like, he could be like this guy. How? It's like, how do you do that? It was like, everything was a myth to us, man. Like, gangbanging was real. It was right when we walked out the house. Right when we walked out the house, man, it was like, oh man. Here's the ghetto bird, here bullets fly. It's like, oh, the sound of the streets, and that's what we adapted ourselves to. And that's what I've known about our people, is that we adapt to the to the environment that we're in. And like usually going back to what you said, right, that family. If you really think about it, man, everything's a family. The tribe, right? The community, the gang banging. Well, so it's a family. That love is what we're all looking for.
That's it.
That love. We're trying to look for that love. And when I see me and my brother, like, oh, you ready to go do something that I would do? Man, you got that much love for me? You ready to go do something that hurt someone that hurt our brother?
Damn.
That's love right there, right? We just had to change that. We had to, oh, that's wrong, bro. Let's just show a different love now. So remember, one thing I learned about this is that our parents, for me, I don't know everyone else, our parents were the first here. They're coming from Samoa here.
Yeah.
So I learned this is that, and I learned this till now, right? They were trying to teach us Samoan culture and American culture. So here they are teaching us about Samoa, but they don't even know the American culture here. So, and I'm gonna give you a fine example. When I graduated high school, I'm the youngest. Me and my brother Tom was working at the Office Depot, right? When we was getting paid, our first thing is give our check to our parents. That's how we were raised, right? Give our check to our parents. And so I was 3 months working at this place. I saw this Mexican dude buy a car. My mom was like, hey man, it's a nice car. How'd you get that? Your mom paid for that? I go, no, I paid for it. I go, how'd you do that? He said, fool, we get paid every week. Well, how'd you do it with 20, 40 bucks? He said, fool, we get paid 33, 50 a week. I know, but you don't give your check to your parents? He said, nah, my mom let me keep those checks. I said, hold up, what? I said, is that only us then? You know what I mean? I was like, hold up, I've been bamboozled right here. I was like, not everyone give their checks to their parents.
Yeah.
I thought that's what everyone does.
That's how we was raised too. But I was fresh out of high school. We went to work,
it.
and I remember my older brother used to get mad, like, man, I gotta give it. And then I was over there getting mad at him, like, what you mean? You gotta give it to her. We gonna stay over there. I gotta take care of my mom.
I was so happy to get 40 bucks, right? Yeah. But I was like, hold on, I can get the whole 350. But then this is where I learned as I grew up, right? Is that I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It was like, what did you guys do with the money? Yeah. It's like, did you guys just save up a house for me? You know what I mean? Like, you guys could have saved up a house for me, but they didn't know the American culture. Because what they did was they took care of other families.
Oh man.
You get what I mean? And for me, I'm like, I don't know that fool. Yeah. I don't know this, but family was everything to my parents. I see my parents literally drive everywhere to go to graduations, funerals, weddings. I was like, for what? When I was a kid, and they needed my money to get there, you know what I mean? And I was just like, but as I got older, I understand that. Yeah. I understand how important family is and how present, being present is.
I want to piggyback off of this too, and I'm curious for your guys' experiences, right? This idea of like finding community, finding brotherhood, finding love and respect and all these things. What was the concept of manhood like for y'all? Like what was, for you growing up where you grew up and you growing up in your environments, what were the models of what it means to be a man that you followed or that you knew how? Because I think if we're being honest about the things that we're sharing with vulnerability and respect and all these other elements, traditionally, right, there's a certain way that those characteristics might be viewed. So I'm just curious, from y'all upbringing, what was manhood? What did manhood mean to you growing up?
Well, you say growing up, then that perspective would be different from right now. But that perspective, I would
give us the full download. When you're growing up and when you are now, because that contrast is important.
Being a man would probably be, like I was saying, being the hardest gangster in the streets. Growing up in the streets, at my age, like 13, 14, 15, 16, like all that, the only thing that mattered at that time was being gangster. Just badass dude from the streets. That was the definition for me for being a man. I can look at the older homies and be like, oh, I heard this story, I seen this story, I know he did that, and I know he ain't never turned down nothing, I know he take his phase, I know he did damage over there. Man, he the man, you know what I mean? That was at that time, my interpretation at that time. Just looking at dudes like that, you know what I mean? So, and then it transitioned to man was the homie with the money, right? The older homie with the money, he getting bread, that's how we doing it. See, for me, it was fucked up because when I started gangbanging, there was no money involved at all. Like, I don't even think we even knew about money. Money was like what's money? I don't need money. We don't need bitches. I just need him to respect me over there. That's it. So then when the money aspect came in, I think being the man would be like, oh, that's That's dude right there. He making that. Oh yeah, we got to be like that. That's the man right there. He holding it down. Now, as a father, I think like all the material stuff is cool, but I think understanding how much value you are as a father, to me right now, as a father, as being that protector and that provider, to me that's being the man. It's like understanding your priorities, understanding the purpose that Heavenly Father gave you. Now, this is my perspective now. His purpose that he gave you to be able to have these blessings and to lead them and to teach them and to pour those teachings that he pours into you and those blessings that he pours into you and to that family. I believe that is how you are, man. You were provided with a family. These aren't my sons and daughters. These are my Heavenly Father's sons and daughters that eventually will grow and have their sons and daughters in this physical world. Our purpose is to do what our Heavenly Father wants us to do, which is to teach them the best way. So for me, it's like my experience, this is my experience. Y'all might not go through it, but let me give you some game so that when you get to this point, you can make your own choices and your own decisions. Because even though you're my son, I look at you like you're my brother too. And that's my oldest son. I'll be like, what's up, bro? Like I look at him like that. I'll be talking to him like, what's up, bro? You good? And he'll be like, oh, I'm good. Like, but that's how it is. I look at it like that. Like we are all sons. We're all daughters of our Heavenly Father. So that's how my perspective of a man is now, is just doing what you're supposed to do. Take care of the family, give them teachings, and allow them the best opportunity to make the best life they can to make our Heavenly Father proud. That's it. That's my father up there, you know what I mean? Even my father, physical father now, I'd be like, we got the same father, even though you my dad right here, but you know what I mean? We gotta make him proud, you know what I mean? Look at it like that. So it changed throughout my life.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna change again, but that's my perspective now from my perspective when I was young. It was being gangster to being that dude with the money and the hoes and all that come, the little glitz and glamour, and to like all the material stuff is cool, but what you really doing? What's your impact in your family?
Before I hear from you, Biggest, it's like manhood coincides with maturity, right? Like emotional, physical, spiritual maturity. Obviously, talk about what it was like as a teenager, what manhood meant versus where you are now. And I'd imagine from an outside perspective, it's like, dang, I hear a lot of maturity and wisdom in that. And as you know, again, as I'm maturing more in my faith and my walk and my relationships, then it makes sense that the concept of what manhood used to be is like totally out the window. And now it's the evolution of wicked.
I had this conversation not too long ago with my brother-in-law, and you know, his brother-in-law was going through some stuff, and he was asking me about, you know, how to be a man, right? And I was like, I guess his father was in his life, and he was crying because he just lost his best friend, and he didn't know if is it crying being a man? And I was just like, you know, for me to say yes or right, I was really actually trying to contemplate that, right? I said, what I learned is like, well, who's your playbook of being a man look like? Is it your uncle, your best friend? He's like, you know, for me, was my dad, right? That's how you be a man. And one thing I saw him was taking care of us, working. He worked his butt off to, you know, to take care of 6 children, no English, and just, you know, not complaining. And that's what, like, for me, that was me being a man, was taking care of my family, not complaining, and just doing what you gotta do to be a man. Yeah. In the midst of that, he didn't talk to me. So that, and I was, and growing up in, you know, in my household, you were only told to speak when spoken to, right? So my pops ran our house with iron fist. And I love my pops. Man, it was hard growing up with him. He was like Joe Jackson, you know what I mean? Beating up kids because they left a towel in the swimming pool, you know what I mean? Who left the towel in the swimming pool? And like, it was crazy because on Sundays, man, we were like, we can't watch TV on Sundays. So when Pops was gone, we turned TV on. Oh, Pops come, turn off. You know, like it was walking on eggshells, you know, Pops, man. But my mom,
Kill the side of the TV.
you know that. Hey, who had the TV? My uncle did that. My uncle did that. You see how we all relate to that part? It's like we understand each other. My dad, man, like, and that was his way of showing love, right? And I'm gonna go deep with it because as I was gangbanging, I went to jail one time, and my mom came to see me. My mom and my dad came to see me, but my dad didn't stare at me. My mom did, right? My mom got on the phone, talked to me, said, "Son, you okay?" I said, "Yeah, Mom, good." And talking motherly stuff, but my dad stared away. And I said, "What's up, Mom? Some Dad don't want to stare at me." Like, "Oh, Dad." I said, "I know, but I want to hear from him, So he never said nothing to me. So I got out, lived life. But years later, my dad stayed with me. He's still alive today. But I was asking my dad, "Hey, you remember when I was in jail? You came to see me, but you didn't stare at me." And he go, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Well, why didn't you stare at me?" He was like, "Son, I came from all the way from Samoa to give you a better life." I said, "I did not want to see my son in jail." He says, "I have 5 boys. 3 of you guys are in jail." And I was like, I didn't see it like that, right? And I was like, well, damn. I said, well, in my head, I was like, well, shit, you raised us in the fucking place. I was like, you had a great vision. But then when we walked out the house, we was getting shot at.
You ain't ready to talk about that either, Pop.
Yeah. That's what, you know what I mean? Like, I had to understand where he was coming from. But he didn't understand where I was coming from because he would tell me too. He was like, because he knew there was times when we went out there and fought other people. And this one thing my dad told me, he said, "Son, I don't mind you guys fighting, just don't shoot." And I said, "Why? In Samoa, we go to village and fight everyone." I said, "See, same thing." And I go, but we don't shoot nobody." I said, "But over here they do." So, it was like we had to adapt to over here. And so he didn't understand that part of raising up here in California. We had to adapt to this life over here, with the same teachings and the culture of family aspect, right? But, that's one thing I love talking to my dad. I'm grateful that my dad is still alive because if he would have died at an early age, I would talk crap about him. I would hate him. I was like, man, F my dad. But because he's still alive and me and him got the conversation, I love you, Pops. Yeah. You did the best you could of what you knew.
That's exactly where I was going with that thought is like the reflection of understanding that, for many of our families, man, maybe 1 or 2 generations or 3 generations removed from the islands. And so they literally did all they could. They came out here with nothing and a dream and a vision to share God's will to people and serve. Yeah. But there was that, cultural knowledge of adapting to a new system. How can I coexist in a society that doesn't really reflect who I am? And these are our, Makuas. These are the people that came before us. So if it's hard for us trying to get acknowledgement from society, damn, imagine what it was like for those who came before us. It's like, oh, okay, that's where the empathy comes through. The second piece is crying. We talk about manhood, right? You don't be no little hoe, then you will love me when you start tearing up. And I lean in all the way, man. I'm a crier, bro. And really, what that symbolizes, all crying is just your body's way of releasing pent up energy, right? So if we can, deconstruct the traditional views that we had even on manhood and say, dang, okay, if I tear up, if I get emotional, if I cry, that has nothing to do with who I am as a man, or at least the old way that I thought, but it's really just my body's releasing things that I have built up, and I got a lot built up. I cry a lot because I got a lot built up. I'm trying to really unravel that in my life. And so I wanted to say that because I know there are moments in this conversation where we feel like, we're tearing up. We feel like we're exposing our humanity. And what I love doing in conversations like this is being able to feel that, because I'm like, ooh, that's a human right there. And he's expressing his felt emotions. And sometimes it leads to sometimes you need it. When was the last time that somebody ever cried it out and said, I feel worse? Because usually you feel like rejuvenated, typically, when you got a good little cry out your system. And that's not by accident. That's just your body's way of releasing experiences, you know, releasing just pent up energy, man. So
I think that's a small thing too. Small men don't cry.
for sure. Yep.
Like you see your pops and everybody there. I don't even. It probably goes back to like when they was on the island, because I don't know. They show my experience with the older generations, small ones that came, because I'm first generation as well. They don't show no weakness, right? So the moment you do show weakness, it's kind of like frowned upon.
Yep.
So for me, like the last time I cried was when my grandma passed that we were speaking about, and that was just like, it just kept, you know what I mean? I couldn't stop crying. So that was like the pain aspect of it. But then I think about it like with my pops, I was like, when's the last time this dude cried? And then I think about it now. Like before when I was a kid, I didn't never see him cry. Now when I see him talking to me, he be crying all the time. You know what I mean? But I think it's more like he got older and he understands like how you talking about it. Like it's just like, it's just a way like to express. Like he was young, I ain't never seen him cry. I used to be looking at him and be like, all right, cool, don't cry then. But he ain't cry. He ain't cry about nothing. He used to work 2 jobs and come home, eat some and go right back to work. He ain't never cried. He had a stroke and took it. And I ain't seen him cry that whole time. You know what I mean? He was just sitting there, couldn't even move his whole left side. So I'm thinking like, all right, you know, you get dealt a certain hand in life and just deal with it. But now I see him as like, he be talking to me, trying to give me game on being a father and stuff. And he just be tearing up all the time, and I just be like, "Oh, you good?"
Yeah. And it's almost like too, you have to fight that knee jerk reaction, right? Because immediately, like, hold on, you're contradicting what you taught me all my life. But then the reflect, and you being a father now, that's what connects you to your pops. Like, oh, okay, my bad, pops. Okay, I'm just saying.
Never like he said, you can't cry.
Yeah,
it's
right.
not like he said, hey, I better not see you crying.
But
I mean, sometimes when you get beat up and stuff, he be like, you better not cry. But like, it wasn't like they told you, you
the
can't
model,
cry. But it was just like, what you seen, from what you seen, like, uncle don't cry, dad don't cry. Yeah, we don't cry. But yeah, I get what you're talking about.
And two, just as I'm thinking about this, all of what you both have experienced has been a culmination of what you have experienced. And you think about the generational patterns that are passed down from OGs, from parents, from loved ones, and how that gets passed down to our generation, or whatever that is. Both positive or negative, right? These concepts that we've been talking about, this whole conversation has been an element of the patterns that were displayed from the people in front of us, that some pass down to us, but then we also have the reflect to revamp it and retool it so that we're passing the adaptive parts of those patterns to our kids in a way that leaves them less scarred than what we were. I mean, I feel like, and I'm speaking as, I'm not a father, but I would imagine when I do have kids, that would be how I would be trying to create a life for them. Like, okay, these are my scars. As much as possible, I'm going to try to create a life for them that minimizes the scars they experience. Man, this trauma therapist called, his name is Dr. Peter Levine. He says, trauma is a fact of life, but it doesn't have to be a life sentence. Right? So you're going to go through struggles. You're going to go through adversity. You're going to go through lived experiences, but they don't have to last an entire lifetime if you have people in your circle that you don't have to safeguard your heart from, whatever environment that looks like. And you guys have described what that is like specifically in gang culture. That's the adaptive parts of those communities you come from, which...
Yeah, I done cried in front of my homies too. Cause I'll be one of those dudes where I get mad and I start tearing up and shit. Like, nigga, y'all gonna ride with me? You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure my homies see me cry because I would get mad and shit like that. But I ain't never been the one to say you less of a man if you cry and shit like that. It's just 100%. Something natural that come out.
I also see crying in different forms. Like I know one of my cousins, man. I realized this fool used to fight so much, but that was his crying. Like he wouldn't show his crying. He'd be like, I didn't know that until we got older, right? And I was like, yeah, but I never seen you cry. He said, I don't, man. I just punch it out. And I was like, hey, that's why you fought those times, like, because it was crazy, man. He was like, but that was his way of showing his crying. Me personally, Man, like my dad, I never seen him cry until my mom passed away. And honestly, he's like, if I was to see strength, and I would look at him, I do look at him actually, because my dad lost his wife, which was my mom. He lost my brother, I lost my brother, his son, and now he lost his grandson, my son. And if you see him, he look like nothing wrong with him. And I was like, I remember one time sitting with Pops after my son passed away. I said, Dad, where's Achilles at? That's my son's name, passed. He said, oh, he's in heaven with Mom and George. You know, my mom and my brother. I said, man, I want that faith that he has, man. I want that faith that man has. He's 86, about to be 87 this year. He still drives. And I look at him, I just like, and like you said, right, well, if he's like that, then I gotta be like that. But sometimes I can't be like him. I can't be like him. I cry it out, and I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with that. I ain't trying to impress nobody.
To me, it was like everything that, you know, we came up doing and banging and stuff like that, there was no cause for it. It was, you know, after doing all this time and just, you know, you grow with maturity,
What is the message, right, that you would share to the young and dumb version, right? You know, the young immature who's just wide-eyed to the experience that you guys have endured and overcome. What would be that message that you would share to those young kids?
I think I'll finish it off because I feel like for me, like the message that I would say is like, just understand that it's a choice. You know, you might be in a situation where you look at your environment, you look at the people around you, and you might think like, this is what I'm supposed to do, you know, but there are so many avenues, so many other gates that you can go through that you can express yourself in a different way, but understanding that it's a choice. I'm not gonna say don't do it. I'm not gonna say you should do it. I'm just saying my thing would be just understand that it's your choice to make. And if you do make that choice, understand that there is no half-stepping, there is no I wanna do this and do that too. It's just make that choice, be solid with that choice. If I could recommend, I would recommend you do something more productive right now. That way you lead. Remember, whatever you do now is gonna put you in position in the next 5 years. That's gonna be the outcome of what you did right now. So I would say, just understand that it's a choice. Like, if that's what you want to do, okay, cool. But there's so many testimonies that will show you that maybe it might not be the way. Maybe you can build a brotherhood through something else, which you can actually. You can do football or something like that.
Which is what I chose. That was the path I chose.
There's a lot of other ways to make these brotherhoods. This is just the way that we made our brotherhood, which is just so happened that we were blessed to be able to come out and be able to speak the truth about it. But I would just say understand that it's a choice. It's not a must. You have choices, and after that, just God bless.
You know, me, if I had to tell you now, man, that playbook, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ playbook, is the one you follow, the one that created you from the beginning. He knows from beginning to end. If you could understand him, know him personally, I learned that I had a borrowed testimony through my mom, but once I finally got to know my Lord and Savior personally and know that he's real, oh man, life ain't all flowers and, you know, thing, but I understand that these are the things that have to happen for me to grow. The lessons to be learned in every tragedy, every, you know, hardship, whatever happens. So, like, follow that playbook. I mean, learn that playbook that you're following and know what's the good and bad from it. You know, because once you understand that plan you got, you know, and it's a successful plan, then you stick to it. That's my thing. I always learn this: if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So make sure you have a plan. You know, follow someone that you look up to, that you think is good. I mean, I looked up to my brothers and them, but you know, they didn't know better. But just find your joy, find your passion, find your happiness. And for me, man, I love to direct everyone to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. To be honest with you, I ain't trying to sugarcoat nothing, man. Go follow Jesus Christ, man. Seriously. It brings you eternal joy and peace and happiness, man. I found that through the death of my son, and I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. So that's it, bro. Thank you.
Man, in closing, I just have to express my deep gratitude for the both of y'all, man, for allowing me an opportunity to just be a part of this experience. And I will tell you both, man, I'm leaving this conversation even more empowered and inspired to do what I feel called to do in the space that I, am beginning to cultivate. And it's through your lived experiences. It's through how you just displayed the true element of strength and vulnerability and leaning into expressing our humanity that I'm leaving like just even more empowered, man. So I just wanted to say I appreciate you both, man.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
It's loud, man. They have it.
Let's eat now.
Thank you for that. Well needed, man. Love you, bro. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
What's up, man? You seen that light, man? See, open up. Yes.
Hey, what's up, man? It's Shane from Island Mogul. I'm here with my Uso Manu from Manumental. We just had an amazing opportunity to wrap up conversations about manhood. It's something super dope that I think many people need to hear.
Yeah, extremely grateful to be able to sit in front of two Polynesian men expressing their humanity and talking about their experience, their lived experiences with the gang culture. And so one of the things that we ask of you is to lean in with an open mind and an open heart in the same way that these two Usos did. If you can do that, then just stay tuned, man. There's gonna be a pretty powerful episode that you're about to witness.